But let me ask you this. Do you think short-term rentals are dead? Do you think there's an opportunity there? I'm going to tell you my thoughts. I think they're alive and well. I think there's some challenges in some areas where they've pulled back and not allowed short-term rentals because they believe that short-term rentals are causing challenges to the housing market. But I don't necessarily believe that. There's locations, and I'm just going to point out a few. There's some tourist-based towns. These towns are, their only economy really is tourism, and they don't necessarily have a lot of hotels. So the only way for those economies to grow and to support the populations that are there is through short-term rentals. That's how people come. That's how people put money and inject it into those municipalities, into those areas. So that the people that do live there have opportunity to, live and work within the area that they're in and not have to commute to, say, some other one. Does it put challenges on the housing market? It really depends. Is there a housing market to begin with? Is there enough housing actually to support the population that's there? And the income that that population is making, is it enough to buy into that housing? Those are some of the challenges, but that's not necessarily a challenge with a short-term rental. Let me give you an example. You've got an area, the lot costs $300,000 or more. Is that an affordable lot? In my books, probably not. It's not an affordable lot because by the time you add on the cost to build, and yes, remember, I'm talking about a northern climate here. We're up in Canada, things cost a little bit more. Some of my friends down in the US, obviously it's a lot cheaper for you guys, and you'd probably just absolutely go, what do you mean a $300,000 lot? But up here, it could cost $200,000, $250,000 just to service that lot. So, there has to be some profit in it for someone to want to actually do that servicing and do that work. But then you couple the build price on it, and all of a sudden you're at $600,000 to almost $1 million for a home. Is that an affordable home for someone who's working in the service industry? Probably not. So then you got to kind of ask yourself, well, if that's the challenge, what's the municipality or the region doing about it? Are they allowing multifamily? Are they allowing the ability to have long-term rental suites available on some of these properties as well? Because the interesting thing about short-term rentals is even at like $1 million and $1 million plus for a home, they can be profitable. In some circumstances, they can cash flow over $1,000 a month. And I know some individuals in some of the cities here in northern Canada that are looking, and they're happy at a couple $100 a month positive cash flow. To me, that seems a little bit challenging. After all my expenses are paid off, the amount of money that I've put into it, my cash on cash return, better be really good. So, short-term rentals in my mindset are an excellent opportunity, not only to grow your investment as an individual and your asset wealth, but also to support the development of some of these smaller communities. Case in point, and whether you like it or not, there's some towns in Canada that banned short-term rentals. And they banned the short-term rentals because there was a report that was produced, funded by the hotel industry, that said short-term rentals affect housing prices. I find that hard to believe. There's not enough investors out there that are buying short-term rentals. And even if there were, there's going to be a balance in there. I've already talked about the demographics and why they're going to look for different types of housing options than these short-term rentals. But let's be honest. If you're working in the service industry, chances are you're not able to afford $1 million house. And we're not talking fancy houses in some of these areas. That's just the price to build and operate them. And unfortunately, you're not going to be able to pay $800 a month rent on there. The mortgage rates alone right now are well north of that. So short-term rentals are a necessity in some communities, and they strongly correlate to the economic success of that community. We've noticed over the year now, or a couple of years since some of these communities have banned short-term rentals, that housing prices really haven't dropped that drastically to make them affordable to those service industry jobs or those lower income jobs that want to live in those areas. And trust me, we do need to satisfy that on the housing side. But businesses have closed their doors because the tourists aren't there. So that takes us to the other aspect of short-term rentals. Why are they so desirable. I know I've stayed in them. I love staying in a hotel. Don't get me wrong. It's beautiful staying in a hotel. But when I have family with me and I have kids and there's multiple of us and I've got to look at 3, 4, 2 hotel rooms and meals out every single day, and then you're eating out every single day. So not only is it expensive to do, but it's also not necessarily the most healthy thing in the world. And yeah, I could probably lose a little weight here too, right? But short-term rentals give us the ability to have more people in a home, so our kids can have a room, our grandparents that come with us, our friends can travel with us, and we can all stay in one location. It allows us to buy our groceries and eat the way we want to eat. And it also allows us to go explore the area in a different aspect. And I'm not talking about the short-term rentals where people are, renting the homes and having big outlandish parties in them and everything else. That's something as the individual host needs to deal with. And these hosting platforms, I think, are doing an excellent job. I've had short-term rentals now for years, and I've never really had a challenge. 1 or 2 guests are not as pleasing as I'd like them to be, but you know what? I probably don't provide the same level of service that one of these guests might have wanted at the same point in time. So there's usually 2 parties in it. But all in all, I found them to be really good. I've enjoyed having the short-term rentals, and I don't find it a lot of work, especially for the level of return that I get. So when we're doing developments in communities, we consider that. We consider short-term rentals and how they're going to impact the community. We want to ensure that we're providing the affordable, attainable homes, but at the same point in time, providing the investment opportunities for individuals as well, because they really do go hand in hand. That's just my take on short-term rentals. I'd love to know yours. I'm sure I'm going to get lots of hate mail on this one, but you know what? I still want to hear it. If you've got a valid concern that actually stands up with some research, I'd love to hear it, because I'd love to incorporate it into some of our developments. If you're doing exceptionally well, let me know about that too, because I want to know how you're doing well. Let's share it with the community, because ultimately, this is about community. We all need to come together, learn from each other, and be able to grow. So if you've liked that, please comment, please subscribe or follow. Make sure you hit that bell for notification, and I'll be back for more.